Understanding conversations are the most used of the four conversations. They are designed to expand people's engagement and participation with their goals and assignments. The intent is to have people discuss and share ideas about something that is relevant to them, their organization, or their team. Understanding conversations are most often used to create new knowledge and information in a group. When a new project has been proposed, for example, the group may work together to develop a project plan that will accomplish the intended results of the project within the time frame specified. Understanding conversations use the resource ingredients. Who else will be involved? Where will we find resources and deliver our results? And how can we go about reaching our goal? Understanding conversations are useful to develop plans and budgets, schedules and timelines, measures and milestones. In short, they are critical for the accomplishment of almost anything that we're out to achieve. Understanding conversations, however, can also be used to clarify the accomplishment ingredients by adding details and clarifying the what, when, and even why of a proposed course of action. Sometimes, for plans that have several different parts or steps, the what, when, why, and the who, where, how specifics are discussed, developed, and added to every step. As a result, changes may be made to the original what, when, and why introduced by an initiative conversation. These updates to the plan are useful to help everyone to be clearer about what the overall goal is to be accomplished, the time frame of its accomplishments, and how people will go about actually accomplishing what is intended. The unique characteristic of an understanding conversation is that it is a dialogue, not an announcement. All parties speak and listen to one another in order to share ideas and make a plan that includes the best that each person has to offer. Dialogues provide an opportunity to raise questions, pose alternatives, and challenge assumptions to produce a high-quality result that will reach the overall intended goal. Janine, a change consultant, told us about 3 different reactions people had to her CEO's announcement about a corporate change. She told us, the CEO said that the marketing division was going to be relocated to the Poughkeepsie office in order to work more closely with our consumer research division, which is already located there. It seems, however, that everyone heard an entirely different message. In response to this announcement, our product manufacturing executive said, the CEO is planning to change our product lines based on consumer research, which is going to change our equipment configuration, and that is going to hammer the engineering and maintenance budgets for years to come. Our sales manager interpreted the CEO's announcement differently still, saying, now they're going to come up with a new sales campaign that will cut commissions in half, all because marketing didn't get its job done. And our computer network coordinator said, this is just the beginning of closing this entire office and moving our headquarters to Poughkeepsie. My wife and I bought a home here, and I don't want to relocate again, so I'm going to start looking for a new job. In each case, people heard the CEO's announcement through their own thinking and perception. But because the CEO did not offer the chance to have a dialogue and an understanding conversation after his announcement, he never heard these interpretations and so couldn't correct the misunderstandings that were floating around. The best way to correct misunderstandings and clarify the best action plans is through dialogue. Understanding conversations are the most effective when people can ask questions, test out their ideas, and challenge assumptions. A legitimate open exploration and examination helps people see what is missing and what is needed, what will work and what will not work, and what the possible costs and benefits are for different action plans. One important question that many managers ask us is, how do I get people more engaged and involved in working toward our goals? Using the dialogues of understanding conversations is one way. We can ask people for their ideas, recommendations, and suggestions on who else should be involved. Where will we get the resources? And where will our results be delivered? and we can get their ideas and recommendations for how we should go about accomplishing all this. The dialogue is what engages people when someone is willing to listen and is genuinely interested in hearing the responses. When we actively involve people in creating plans and modifying the ideas we are proposing, and when we listen without dismissing or arguing with what they come back for as recommendations or proposals, we create the opportunity for engagement and in shared understanding. Understanding, however, does not mean there is agreement for action or that any action will be forthcoming. In fact, understanding can lead to both agreement and disagreement. Lucy, one of my MBA students, was upset about the grade she received on an exam. After class, she came up and asked me, "Would you please reread this question? I think you may not have completely understood my answer." "Okay," I said, and I reread the exam question and Lucy's answer. After completing my reading, I turned to her and I said, "I see exactly what I saw the first time I read it. I do not see any reason to change your grade." Lucy became more agitated at my response and asked once again, "Please read it one more time. I am sure the answer is appropriate, and I want you to understand it." Reluctantly, I reread the answer. Then I said, "Lucy, I've read your answer twice. You say that you want me to understand your answer, and I believe that you really do. And I also believe that I do understand it, but you still don't think I do. How would you know if I understood your answer?" She looked at me and said, "I think if you understood my answer, you would agree with it, and then you would change my grade." Aha. Well, I do understand your answer, I told her, but I do not accept it. It is not an appropriate response to the question being asked, and as a result, I am not going to change your grade. She was very upset. Understanding does not mean agreement, appreciation, or acceptance. Do not look for people to be happy and excited as proof of their understanding. In fact, when they understand a new idea and consider their role when making it a reality, some people may not participate and decide to go elsewhere. Instead, look for a willingness to engage in the conversation and a willingness to help find answers to the questions that arise. There is a trap in the use of understanding conversations, and the trap is the belief that when people understand something, they will act appropriately based on that understanding. In some cases, they will agree, they will accept, and they will buy in, and they will be persuaded, they will be convinced, but none of that means they will do anything. As an example of this, think of all the people you know that want to lose weight or be better shape physically. They know what to do, but they're not doing it. There is not a perfect link between knowing what to do and doing what you know, and that becomes the issue. Understanding alone is not sufficient. If it were, the world would be a much different place, and people would always do what they know to do. The issue is, how do we get people to do what they know they should do? The trap of understanding is illustrated more completely in this Dilbert cartoon. Did you ask the lab if they have a way to test traffic loads on our prototype? I met with them for an hour and explained that we need traffic load tests. But you didn't actually ask if they could do the test? Well, no, but it's their job to do the test, and they would have mentioned it if they didn't have a way to do it. But you didn't ask. That was the context of the meeting. If they couldn't do that sort of test, they would have mentioned it sometime during our hour together. Maybe you should ask. Okay, I'll ask. Are you freaking kidding me? I wondered why you didn't ask. Most people have had the experience of assuming that understanding would be sufficient to have something happen, as did Dilbert. Given the purpose of the meeting and the lab person's job, Dilbert assumed that when the lab person understood which test was needed, he would naturally go and do it. And that is the trap of understanding. Understanding conversations do not produce action. They produce understanding. This is a fundamental fact of communication. It is also the reason that understanding conversations are both the most used and the most misused conversations in organizations. We continue to believe that if we can just get people to understand what we want, we will then get that. Understanding conversations can help to remove barriers to success by improving our planning and clarifying roles and responsibilities that support teamwork. Understanding conversations can also clarify resource and support requirements, as well as quality standards and requirements. Having a productive dialogue about your team's products, services, and overall performance can improve work and quality and substantially reduce lateness. In summary, understanding conversations allow people the opportunity to make sense of their work as it relates to the big picture of goals and objectives. These conversations connect them to their jobs and the ways that they can participate with the larger group. Listening and dialogue are the foundation of effective understanding conversation. These conversations are an opportunity for both the speaker and the listener to learn and explore ideas. And finally, understanding conversations produce understanding, not agreements or actions. They set us up for performance conversations that are designed to produce agreements and actions in time. In summary, understanding conversations allow people the opportunity to make sense of their work as it relates to the big picture of goals and objectives. These conversations connect them to their jobs and the ways that they can participate with the larger group. Listening and dialogue are the foundation of effective understanding conversations.